Alright, Shalom, Shalom. This is your brother Issachar coming back at you for another lesson. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, all honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahweh Shai, Bahashim Rafakadas. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. Peace and blessings to the hopeful elect and the 144,000 scattered across the four corners of the earth. Shalom to you. Alright, in today's lesson, we're going to go into Civil War, okay, and also, everything that we're seeing, that's happening around the world. We're gonna go into that, because this is all spoken about from Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai. All right, you have to understand this. What's happening right now in Mexico, with the cartel. All right, what's happening with these files. Okay, people want to know what's going on. All right, people don't know who to trust. Remember when you guys out there remember when Donald Trump became president? A lot of these dumb Babylonians, stupid Americans. All right, yeah, you gotta say it just like that, because remember they're like, oh yeah, Trump's a savior, and now look, now people hate Trump, because they know that Trump is, fully backing up those rich people on those files, which is completely wicked, So now people are like, shit, Trump, what the hell, he's backing them up. So they're like, hey, wait a minute, See, because the Lord is starting to see who the Edomites, okay, truly are. This is why they're called the devil. Remember, it's not a red reptile underneath the ground with a pitchfork, All right, it means deceiver, because they're tricking the world into believing a lie. All right. Oh, you know what? Let's go to Job chapter 9, verse 24. Let's get that. Okay, so this is Job chapter 9, verse 24. All right, so this is exactly why the prophets of Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai are, warning you, telling you, okay, what is coming down the pipe, and who these people are. Remember, it's not just, we just hate the so-called white man, and, no, it's remember, there's facts behind this, this message has weight, it's reality. So that's why it's not just, oh, well, if you don't believe, forget it, because, we got the truth and ha ha ha. No, it's because if you truly don't believe, okay, you're going to end up in this man, the so-called white man, you're going to end up in his trap and his net. Okay, facts, and that's, and it's just plain as that, because if you don't take heed, you're going to go right to that trap. All right, Job chapter 9, verse 24. The earth is given into the hand of the wicked. Okay, so write this down. The earth is given. So you Edomites, okay, the self-proclaimed white man, you never created this planet. You never created humans. All right, and the earth was temporarily given into your hands. So our enemies, okay, our enemies have temporarily control, all right, over the earth. Oh. Okay. The earth is given into the hand of the wicked. Right. Okay. So the earth has been temporarily given to the wicked. See? All right. He covered the faces of the judges thereof. Because by covering, he's lying. Okay. He's lying the truth. So that's why for people, to find out what's really going on around the world, you can't watch KTLA and all that. All right, that's only fluff news, But they're not going to tell you what you're not going to find out what's really going on, You think KTLA is gonna tell you that the RFID microchip is MOTB? Don't take it. Shit, excuse my Italian, but this is it's very very serious. All right, so he covered the faces of the judges thereof, because he's covering what? The truth. He crossed out the prophets, the name of the Lord. All right, the name of the Lord, his name is Yahweh, and they're calling him Jesus Christ to the world, lying to the world. So these Edomites have a lot to pay for. Remember that, they made all the angels and the prophets look like, like this, what this world calls so-called Europeans, okay, so-called white people, if you will. All right, that's how they identify themselves today. All right, remember, they're truly Edomites. Remember that. He covereth the faces of the judges thereof, because they're covering the truth. This is why, for those of you to find out what's going on, you have to dig a little bit. You got to go to alternative news medias. Okay, you have to, you got to do a little digging. Why is it not right there in the forefront? Why aren't these Edomites telling people what it is? Okay, because they're lying to the world. All right, he covered that. He's talking about the Edomites. Okay, starting with the international bankers. All right, these leaders that rule this earth and darkness, because they're behind the scenes, because they're not coming out saying, yeah, we're the top bankers and all that. No, they rule in secrecy. Okay, that's why there's secret societies. Okay. Oh yeah, this is it's very very real. He covered the faces of the judges thereof. Right. Okay. So he's he's the one lying about everything. So this is why the Edomites have have a lot to pay for it. If not, where and who is he? Right. Okay. Because if it's not this man who's lying, okay, which the world can clearly see, because you see how Trump is backing up the rich people in those files and all that. See, because they're protecting people, who are very wicked, and the world's starting to see that. And this is what Yahweh Bashim Yahushai has been telling the prophets this whole time. Okay, has been telling the people. Okay, has been telling the people by his prophets the whole time. Right. Okay, so it's very, 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 very important. Okay, because the Lord's not going to lie. Okay, it's impossible for the Lord to lie. All right, so the Lord's going to tell you exactly what it is. You see? All right, because now the world's like, hey, I thought Trump was, all this and that, like a good person, a standing upright man. But how come he's backing up people on the files? How come? You answer that. You guys answer it. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. We don't gotta go into detail. I mean, hey, it speaks for itself. Okay. If somebody is trying to back up somebody so wicked like that, what does that mean? Obviously, they're wicked, right? All right. So this is why the Lord is telling you. Remember, but this is now what the world is seeing, because the Lord's exposing this man. Okay, he's exposing the Edomites before he shuts them down. You understand? Okay, now let's go back to Isaiah. Bear with me. Isaiah chapter 19, verse 1 on down. The burden of Egypt. Behold, the Lord Yahweh Bashim Yahushai rideth upon a swift cloud, and shall come into Egypt, and the idols of Egypt shall be moved at his presence, and the heart of Egypt shall melt in the midst of it. Alright, so let's break this down. Alright, so that way, those of you who care about learning, you can get, you can get an understanding. Okay, because remember, it's all about understanding. You got to understand what the Lord is saying here. Okay, remember, it's not just about, oh, I can memorize all these scriptures in my head, but do you understand? Okay, do you understand what it's saying? See, like the Christians and Catholics, they go to church. You can go to church every day, but if you don't understand that the Lord's name is Yahushua, if you don't understand that the RFID microchip is the MOTB, then it's no bueno. It's no bueno. All right, because you got to have that understanding there. See, very, very important. All right, so let's break this down. The burden of Egypt, the burden, because it's a burden of America, because now America is seeing, hey, what the hell's going on? These leaders are all corrupt. Because let's just say, check this out, okay? Check it out, okay? Let's go from Bush, okay? You got Bush, you got Biden, you got Hillary Clinton, all right? You got, who's that? Kamala Harris, all right? She's married to a small hat. They own a lot of the prisons out there. All right, Kamala Harris put a lot of Israelites in jail. Yep. Oh, absolutely. All right. This is something that. So just look right now with those names flowing around. Remember how Hillary Clinton, Trump wanted to put her in jail and stuff like that. All right, but anyways, whether she goes to jail or got in trouble, yes or no, what's the fact of the matter is that all these leaders are corrupt. Okay, all right. George Bush. Okay, you guys already know. Okay, Biden, you remember? Okay, he was remember he got caught because he was like smelling a little girl and stuff like that. Remember? All right, but no one gets in trouble, right? But they all have history. Look at Hillary Clinton. All right, regardless of Trump and Hillary saying going back at it with each other, now look at Trump. His name's on those files. So what is to be learned by this? These leaders are all corrupt. See, and this is what the world is seeing. Okay, regardless of are they gonna go to jail or not? Forget all that. Okay, just know that that they're all corrupt. Because what's the lesson from that? What is the meaning? That they're all corrupt. Because look at all of them. Okay, look at all of them. Bill Clinton, you kidding me? Okay, he said that. Remember, because somebody was exposing the Bohemian Grove. Remember, it's like in California, right there, Bohemian Grove, where people, the Satanists, like top elites, they go and worship an owl, right? Like they do sacrifices and stuff. Remember that? Bill Clinton, remember, because someone was talking crap about it, he goes, oh yeah, you should go over there and get some fresh air, because he was there, but he's making a joke out of it, like, yeah, but, they sacrifice children there, They all do sodomy right there. All right, yeah, but just to show you they're all down with it. They're all down with child sacrifice, pedophilia, sodomy. See, and that's what the world is seeing now. Like, hey, wait a minute. Why are all those names on those files? Because they're all corrupt, And this is what the world is seeing. You see, so this is why the Lord tells, all right, His people to this is why the Lord tells His people to take heed, by His prophets. All right. Okay. Behold, the Lord Yahweh Bashim Yahushai rideth upon a swift cloud, because our Lord Yahushai is gonna arrive very soon in the chariots of Israel, which are known in this world as the so-called UFOs, so-called UAPs, the spaceships. Okay, the spaceships. Okay, so the Lord Yahweh Bashim Yahushai rides upon a swift cloud. Okay, because the Lord, he rides in those vehicles, okay, the so-called UFOs, and the world is now recording them. All right, the whole world is recording the so-called UFOs. All right, you know, letting the Lord is letting the world know who He is, that He exists. But these simpletons, they still don't believe. Because the spaceships are literally right there, and people still don't believe. But that's how docile and how lost and stuck in the world they are. They don't care. They don't care. They don't care. But that's all right. And shall come into Egypt. Yeah. So the Lord is coming to America. Yep, that's right. To destroy it. All right. The Lord Yahweh Shai is going to arrive in the Middle East first. Okay. Then he's going to make his way to. America, to the west. And the idols of Egypt shall be moved at his presence. Right, because right now these elites are freaking out. Okay, I don't care how you slice it. Okay, these elites are freaking out. All right, this is why they're going. They're building underground bunkers. They're going to the underground cities. See, when leaders feel attacked, like remember the leader of Iran. Remember, not too long ago, he felt Trump was threatening him. So remember, he went to his underground bunker. So that's all these elites are gonna do. These leaders are just gonna go to an underground bunker. That's it. They ain't going nowhere. The Lord can see through the whole earth. Yeah. You imagine like you guys ever seen that when you went shopping, like at arts and crafts stores, where you seen like a snow globe? Okay, the Lord can see through the whole earth like nothing. And these devils, they're so retarded. They think that, oh yeah, let's just dig a hole and we'll be all right. They're beyond retarded. You can't help not to laugh sometimes. Because you can't hide from the Lord. This is His creation. Absolutely. And the heart of Egypt shall melt in the midst of it. Okay, because right now, all right, all this, the Lord is bringing the pride of America down. Okay, the spirit here, because you can see that, people, even this past Christmas, okay, which is demonic, by the way. All right, for those of you just coming to the faith, our Lord Yahweh, He wasn't born in the wintertime in December. He was born in the springtime. All right, around April, May. All right, just to let you know that, and that's in the book of Luke. All right, so it goes on and on and on, because our enemies worship, the sun, pagan idols. All right, Nimrod, Tammuz. All right, for those of you that don't know, just go into that a little bit, But that's just a quick FYI. All right, so let's see here. So the Lord is bringing this place down. Okay, you can see like sports not the same. Okay, music, is music the same like before? Nah, before music was good. It was real music. They had like real class. Music. They really put like their heart into it. Now it's just get money. Yeah, I'm gonna sleep with your woman and get the money. Nigga this, nigga that. It's just complete fucking trash. Excuse my Italian, but it's complete fucking trash. Excuse my Italian, but it's so bad. Before even like hip hop, before, like right before like Run DMC era, at least, it wasn't, as bad, They would kind of rap about things like this, your city, helping the family or something like that, build yourself up, stuff like that. But now it's just completely demonic, man. You see what the state of our people, it's, you guys know what it is, like look at Cardi B and all that, and Like that dude, what's that dude's name? Man, I think his name's like Travis Scott or something like that. And I don't really know the names too much of these rappers, but you guys know what I'm talking about out there. You know, they're complete demons. You know, complete. They're complete demons. You know, but hey, that's just the time that we're living in because everything's being brought low. The music's being brought low. Look at the movies, for instance. You know, look at how the movies. Look at how they suck now. You know, because people go to the movies and they're like, ah, man, they you know, because they rush these movies. You know, they don't put their heart into it because it's all about, oh, this is make money. You know, you can tell a lot of these movies, they're not well made. You know, there's a lot of CGI. It's like, oh man, you know. Remember the movies back in the day? You know, they had real stories. They were good. You know, they were made very well. Okay, but that just shows. Okay, that just shows the Lord's bringing down this place. Okay, because the people are all messed up. Look at families out here. Okay, families out here, they don't even get together with one another. You know, everyone's like, well, oh, everybody's like, oh well, you know, everyone's like, oh well, hey, you know, I'm not gonna have my way. I'm not gonna invite my family over, and just for like little things, people they go heads up, you know, with brothers and sisters for little things, you know, like families they don't really get together like they used to, you know, because no one gives a damn. You see, now Americans they hate America now. You know, they're saying hell with the American government. See, before they were all about, you know, joining the army and being, you know, a full American, you know. Now look, everyone's like, forget, even Americans are saying forget America, forget the American government. See? You know why? Because this place is corrupt. It's no good. You know, it's no good. It's no good. All right. Trump. Hey, Trump. You know, he exposes that by his little saying, how he says, "Let's make America let's make America great again," because it's not great. Okay, yeah, you know, we all know it's towards, you know, white supremacy and stuff, but it's not great. You know, the scriptures say, you know, the Lord's gonna make our enemies their tongues to fall upon themselves. Because right there, he just tells us that it's not great. He said, let's make America great again. Yeah, because it's not great. Okay, it's circling the drain, baby. All right, verse 2. And I will set the Egyptians against the Egyptians. American versus American. This is what you're seeing right now. Because some people are, you still got some dummies out there that are saying, you know, blacks for Trump and stuff like that. But you got other people like, yo, Trump's a straight, you know, criminal, you know? Like, yeah, man, this is what it is. So the Lord's doing this, okay? You guys? Isaiah chapter 19, verse 2. And I will set the Egyptians against the Egyptians. That's American versus American. And they shall fight everyone against his brother. That's what's happening right now. Everyone against his neighbor. Right. Because, yeah, you guys remember back in like the, you know, the 70s, the 80s, even to the 90s, you know, people knew their enemies, you know. I mean, their enemies, people knew people knew like their neighbors and stuff, you know. You know, people were outside, like you knew who people were, you know. Sometimes now, like, yeah, people may say hi neighbor and stuff like that, but they're not as social as how it used to be. Okay, you guys remember, all right, those of you that are like at least, you know, like 30 and up, okay, the age of 30 and up, you guys remember how it used to be back in the day. Okay, people were outside playing. Okay, people knew their neighbors, you know. Everybody knew their parents. You know what I mean? Children were able to play outside. Yeah, you know, they still got in trouble and stuff like that, but you know, for the most part, people knew, like, hey, you know, they knew their neighbors. They knew that stuff. You know, it was you know, it was a better time, you know. And everyone against his neighbor, city against city, and kingdom against kingdom. There's going to be civil war out here, okay? Civil war, also kingdom against kingdom, World War III. So a lot of these knuckleheads that are talking crap, don't worry about them, because the Lord's about to have them be drafted very soon, you guys. It's very real, very real. You know, and let me tell you something about war. Okay, war's not pretty. All right, like the elder Ural says, okay, like the elder Ural says from GMS Los Angeles camp, okay, because you can see the difference. Hey, you can see the difference between you can see the difference between people, you know, in the People that went to World War I and World War II that survived, people that went to Vietnam and came back, they're completely different, you know, because it's not that easy to see, you know, just blood and guts uh, poured out, you know, see people butchered to death, you know, that changes a person's countenance, you know, that changes your whole look. You see, all right, because it's terrifying, you know, because you know you might have you know, run for your life, and you know you might have seen people blown up by tanks and all that, you know, have to step over bodies and stuff. You might have to even sleep next to like dead bodies, you know, just to survive, you know. Yeah, so it's hey, it's very very, you know, it's very very, you know, devastating, you know, it's very very devastating, you know. So this is what's gonna happen, you know, that draft very soon. Okay, Isaiah chapter 19 verse 3. And the spirit of Egypt shall fail in the midst thereof, and I will destroy the counsel thereof, and they shall seek to the idols, and to the charmers, and to them that have familiar spirits, and to the wizards. Right, because the people of this earth, they don't look to the Lord for help. All right, they truly, you know, they truly, they're real witches and warlocks. You know, it's very very. This is what we're seeing right here, okay? Because the leaders of this world, they look up to wizards and witches. All right, so that's it on part one on martial law and, you know, separation. All right, you know, because people don't see, you know, eye to eye in this world. So with that, that's it on today's lesson. On your feet, soldier. Shalom.